fight or flight mode is all perception. With us, modern man, we're not really threatened. Our lives are not threatened, but we believe it is.
We react like it's a threat.
Yes, so a way out of that cycle is your thoughts. A positive thought will have more positive results.
Mm-hmm.
You'll feel happier. And so it's a matter of also looking at your self-talk. Mm-hmm. How do you talk to yourself? Mm-hmm. Sometimes we're our own worst critic. You know, you could be so mean to yourself.
Yeah. We talk to ourselves, or at least I, in a way that I would never talk to a friend.
Exactly. You have that little mean, judgy voice. Yeah,
and honestly, I feel like I hold myself to standards that are just impossible to even achieve.
Yes, and sometimes has a very harsh tone to it. Mm-hmm. And you call yourself names you would never call anyone else. Mm-hmm. And we need, that is the basis of everything. Yeah. First of all, perfectionism is ridiculous, really. We have to accept that we are perfectly imperfect. Mm-hmm. And I love the Elizabeth Gilbert quote where she says, embrace the glorious mess that you are. So you gotta laugh at yourself. You gotta lighten up on this stuff.
Yeah. I love that your approach to it is lighten up. We take things so seriously, even the spiritual practice. Like, we have to be so strict about it. We have to meditate for 5 hours every morning at 4 a.m., and if we don't do that, then we're failing or doing something wrong.
Yes.
And I love that your basic approach to it, and I guess the way that you kind of come into it is, first of all, don't take it so seriously. Lighten up.
Exactly. Yeah. And don't take yourself so seriously. Mm-hmm. Honestly. And if you lighten up on yourself and you're less judgmental on this person, you will find you won't be so judgmental on everyone else.
Right. There's so many things that you said that I would love to touch upon. Let's start with language, because for me, I would say this was a very big realization a few years ago. And actually, it came from the book, The Four Agreements, which many people know. It's a wonderful book by Don Miguel Ruiz. And one of the agreements is purity of the word. I read it in Hebrew, so I'm loosely translating. But he speaks there about how much power words have. And in that book, I realized words create love affairs. Words create wars between countries. It's how we use our words that can create reality for us. And when those are big examples, but we can take it into day-to-day life. The words that we use in our relationships, the words that we use when we speak about ourselves, to ourselves and to other people, have so much weight in how we perceive the world.
Yes, and it's a great point you brought up, because your communication style creates a lot of stress too. It can create a lot of stress. So you have to look at how you communicate with others. Not just the words you use are very important, such as, instead of you make me feel this way, when you do that, do pointing the finger at someone, maybe put it another way, like, I feel this when we talk about that, or when, rather than straight away someone putting up their defenses, we can just talk about your experience. I feel. So start your sentences with I feel, and be very mindful and speak slowly. But that's why meditation is so good. It gives you that chance to hit the pause button to respond appropriately to people. But there are other communication styles that actually create a lot of stress, where you're very aggressive style. Someone has a very aggressive style. They probably don't even realize they're being that aggressive, but it's all about them. And they can be quite a bully. All their feelings are important and no one else's is. And then, so that's out of balance. And then there's the other extreme, where you are a very passive communicator. You don't communicate much at all, because your feelings don't matter as much as everyone else's. So it's a matter, again, of perception and self-identity. So learning to step away from being a doormat and learning to step away from being a bully, there's a nice happy medium way where you can be just a positive assertiveness, where everybody's opinion counts. Everybody's feelings count. I count, you count. Let's work this out. Everything's fine. I'm not judging. You're not judging. Let's just, see what makes us a little more balanced and happy. So, yeah, it causes stress for sure if you're not, speaking to yourself and others in a positive way.
Right. I think what you mentioned now, I've been actually thinking about it a lot recently. When you come with like demands and too assertive, I think it's related to expectations that we expect others to be a certain way or to fulfill our needs in a certain way. And the other end of the spectrum that you spoke about, being a doormat or not saying what we need, I think it's related to not valuing ourselves appropriately.
Yes.
Not really understanding what our worth is. What kind of treatment are we worthy of having? So what has been your journey in finding the middle in between these two?
Well, teachers teach. In my case anyway, I'll speak for myself. I teach what I need to learn. I always have, because I have been researching what I need to learn. And then I realized maybe other people need it too. And it has just naturally evolved into sharing with others what I've been able to accumulate and gratefully had the time to study because I have a psychology background. I first learned to meditate when I was 16.
Wow.
I was actually a very depressed, messed up teenager. I was about to get kicked out of high school. And I found this self-improvement course. It was really a mind development course, but it was basically a lot of meditation. Hours of meditation for a weekend, a night, and another weekend. But it was fantastic because it taught me a lot about self-love too. And it was the first time in my life I realized that, there is love everywhere. And it's also inside of me. So that was the start of my self-love journey, because I was always reading spiritual books and self-help books since I was 13 because I wanted to know what was wrong with me. And then I went on to get a psychology degree to figure out once again, what is wrong with me? Even though I was still meditating, taking in spiritual knowledge, deep down, you can't, you still feel unworthy. And what is wrong? So that was beginning of my self-love journey. And now I realize from teaching so many sleep classes to insomniacs, weight management classes to obesity and those medical conditions, as well as just general emotional wellness with stress management, I realize the basis of every single imbalance is self-love, a lack of self-love and self-compassion. Because think about it, when you love something, you take care of it, right? You love your plants. You wouldn't put vodka in there instead of water. Right. It would kill the plant. So we water our plants. We put them in just the right amount of sun so they don't burn. And we take care of them. We take care of our pets. And our pets teach us unconditional love and forgiveness all the time. And we need that for ourselves. So it's just a matter of deserving, feeling worthy. And it's funny how the yoga community are perfectionists. It seems to attract a lot of perfectionism and people who want to be perfectly in balance and want to be perfect in so many ways, mind, body, and spirit. And it creates a lot of stress. It creates a lot of judgment, harsh inner judgment. So learning to laugh at yourself when you make a mistake, learn that it's a process of we need to make mistakes.
Right.
There's no such thing as failure. Because if we didn't make mistakes, how are we going to learn?
Right.
Einstein said he had failed 1,000 times before he'd get to a certain theory. And he loved each failure because it got him closer to the right one.
Right. Every failure is like, okay, now I'm one step closer to where I want to go.
Yeah.